Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here, Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, Thunderbolt, Georgia. Thank you guys tuning in to another installment of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting. Want to just start it out as we normally do, man. Word of the day. If you guys hadn't ever tuned in, the way we play word of the day is basically I'm going to say a word. At some point in time during the show, I have no idea what the word is, but every time I say this word, make sure you take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. Always like to say it is all age appropriate as well. School is back for most of us, but hey, it's Wednesday. Get some Coca-Cola, get some Kool-Aid. If you're under the age of 21, Red Bull, whatever, get jacked up, man. So last week's word of the day was Kyle. Between Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, I'm sure I said that quite a few times. You might have got a little intoxicated or a little hyped up, but like I said, it was Kyle. So this week's word of the day is going to be, I have no idea what it is. All right, moving right into some NASCAR news. Got a little bit to talk about. Some things exciting, some things not so exciting. But hey, man, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We are 32 days away from the start of the 2022 Daytona 500. Sellout crowd, over 100,000 folks are on hand. So it's going to be some, good things. They had a streak of 5 years in a row running all the way up till we hit that COVID year, obviously, and restrictions on capacity. But like to see where it picks up, selling out right again. There still are some available spots as far as motorhome and camping goes, but as far as the grandstand, supposedly it is 100% sold out. So going to be one for the memory or for the history books, man. One to remember. Make sure you do not miss that. Hey, some more big news while we're on Daytona. Been in the works for a while. We've been talking about this and thinking about it for a while. He made the announcement last season, maybe the season before. Floyd Mayweather and the Money team are going to attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500. Now, Kaz Grala is going to be the driver that they put in supposedly in the rumor mill. Sources are saying they're going to go for it, man. So maybe it's coming to light. They got it all worked together and going to put that money in, and maybe he'll start his own race team. Now, as I say to everybody, just like I did with Michael Jordan, got to pay the cost to be the boss, man. This is not a cheap sport by no means. This is not let's say, a talent as far as putting it on your shoulders and carrying it and making the money. This is about the investment you make and the money you get back out of it. It takes a lot of money to make this go around in the racing world of NASCAR. So we'll see if Floyd's willing to put up those millions and millions and millions it takes to be competitive and successful, and how long it takes if he decides to do that. But be on the lookout. Could see a Money team car in the Daytona 500. So speaking of Daytona, Coach's crew headed down there here next week, going to root on our driver, Mr. Michael Carter there, IMSA Mazda 5 Series. So if you're going to be down there, make sure you check him out. Give him a shout out, man. We're going to be pulling for him right back here down home, but Coaches is taking a crew of folks down there. Probably going to be a wild time. Still looking for some folks out there, man. Sponsor a little bit, shoot a little money. So, hey, if you're interested in sponsoring Mr. Michael Carter, a Savannah native, you can definitely get in touch with him through his Facebook stuff. You can come up here and talk to John Henderson at Coaches. He'll get you in touch with him. But he is looking for some guys out there, sponsorship, and, buy some tires, buy some fuel, do something for him, man. What the hell? So, hey, there it is. Swear bucket. Getting down to donation. Been some low budgets here. Hadn't really been drinking too much, hadn't cussed too much, but we will throw dollars in there. That's going to go to our Checkered flag for charity. Hadn't decided on it yet this year. That announcement's coming up here in the next couple of weeks here before we get back to racing. What local charity we're doing it for or person we're doing it for right now as of this year, but that will be announced here coming up, man. So like I said, got a lot of good things going, and while we're on the topic of Daytona again, some things interesting if you guys have seen any of the news coming out about the tests that happened there at Daytona and the return of tandem drafting or racing, right? So back 5, 6, 7 years ago there, we started getting into the tandem racing where two cars can lock up, push each other around the track, gain a lot of speed, pull away from the field. For me, as a race fan, Talladega and Daytona aren't two of my favorite races anyways. As we all know, they ride around pretty close together. They make the moves. I think it's amazing what they do, but we're waiting to see the last 5, 10, 7 laps, somewhere right around in there. So this isn't going to be the same style tandem racing that we're used to. Now, they did mess around with it, and there is a lot to gain by doing it, but it is risk for reward. So you can go faster. You can pull away from the pack doing it. but at the same time, these nodes on these brand new next-gen cars and the handling are pretty sketchy. So with that being said, I think it's probably going to be something you will see maybe towards the end of the stages, as we've seen in years past. We're going to ride around, we're going to dice it up a little bit, but towards those end of those stages, getting those stage points pay dividends at the end of the season, so expect those moves to come at the end of the stages. And I will say at some point in time, somebody's probably going to mess up during this race doing that or in some other form of fashion. A lot of folks are going to get taken out. But if it is tandem, you got to make a buddy. I love that. You got to keep a friend through the whole race, whether it's a teammate or whether it's another driver. And then the timing of when to make the move and when to do this move is going to be key. So there again, a lot of the same Daytona aspects that we usually have on that super speedway race, but going to be some new things thrown in with the unknowns of the next-gen car. So it's going to be exciting. Not a huge fan of the tandem racing and super speedway racing in its own, but hey, at the end of the day, the last few laps are always exciting. Always going to be a great race, man. Chili Bowl Nationals have come to an end, and we have a new Chili Bowl champion there, man. Tanner Thorson fought off some of the best in the sport, not only dirt racing, but in NASCAR, beating out Christopher Bell, a three-time champion, and Kyle Larson, man. I tell you what, had a little bit of struggle there. Larson did, kind of got into the cushion late in that race, coming into the laps, ended up finishing 6th, but, still a good shot. Bell there again, started out there, had the lead for a while, lost it to the eventual race winner, man. But there again, if you hadn't seen it, make sure you go check it out on YouTube. I'm sure they're streaming replays of it somewhere. Make sure you check it out. It is the Super Bowl of dirt racing. It is awesome. I think it's great. It is awesome to see these guys go out in these small, high horsepower cars and just sling it around the track the way they do, man. But big shout out there again to Tanner. He is a Joe Gibbs driver. Maybe hadn't made it up to that level of the sport yet, but he is signed under contract with Joe Gibbs. Has been in the truck series a time or two, so might be a name to look out for. Maybe he's going to do some more dirt racing. Maybe he's going to try to make it back into the truck series and see what he can't do with a career. But at the end of the day, man, absolutely awesome race, awesome event they put on there at the Chili Bowl. So you definitely got to make sure, if you can go. If not, stream it, check it out, man. Awesome racing. So more news, NASCAR news coming up in that LA Coliseum, man. How cool is it when you got Ice Cube doing a concert there before the kickoff of the race, man? I think that's awesome. Nothing really, spits out West Coast more than Ice Cube, so I think that's great. There again, going to attract a lot of fans that normally do not put eyes on NASCAR. A lot of people, a lot of sponsors, a lot of big name people I'm sure are going to be out there, man. So I think this is going to be great for the sport. So as we all know, with the pandemic and everything that we got going on, the bounce back of the the new variant of COVID-19, we're all having some supply chain shortages. NASCAR is not an exception. So if you've been keeping up, the next gen car is a third party pretty much produced. We went away from teams developing their own parts to put on their own race cars, building their own chassis, etc., etc., etc. So with that being said, now it's through a third party. We're having some issues getting parts in that we need, a surplus of these parts. I'm kind of thinking NASCAR wish they had a crystal ball on foreseeing this in the future and maybe held out one more year on the next gen car. But I tell you what, I'm excited about it. I'm sure they'll get it figured out. I'm sure they're going to get it lined out and get all this stuff to the race teams appropriately the way they should. But like I said, not even the realms of NASCAR are out of reach of the supply chain, man. So Jacques Villeneuve going to try to make the Daytona 500 as well. Going to try to qualify, man. This will be his first start in the Great American Race there in Daytona. Been around this sport and a lot of sports for a long time. Pretty sure F1 or kart champion. He's done quite a few things, man. A really good race car driver, very renowned race car driver. So, hey, man, be on the lookout. We'll see if he can wheel that car into the qualifying 40 for the Daytona 500, man. So, Jeffrey Earnhardt inked a deal, man, there for the Xfinity Series 2022 with Sam Hunt Racing for multiple races, man. I think that's good. There again, the name speaks for itself. You know, been around a long time. Always when you carry that last name, going to get a shot. And on top of that, the guy carries himself very well. Very personable, very sponsor friendly. Not a bad race car driver at all. So there again, we'll see what kind of moves he can make. See if he can propel that team up when he's behind the wheel and in the seat of the car, man. So we're going to pause real quick for station identification right here on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday night. Hope you guys are staying warm. It's chilly out there, but we're pausing for a second, man. Cheers, y'all. All right. So, coming out with some more NASCAR news, former crew chief Todd Gordon signed on with us here at XM NASCAR. Going to do some things for them there, man. I think it's going to be a great relay of information when you're getting a guy, one, that's a championship crew chief, two, has been in the sport very recently, and three, just knows a lot of things from behind the scenes to, just giving a different insight on what's going on in the track and the strategies that some of these crew chiefs might be, deploying to better their stuff. But I think it's going to be a great view, and what a great fit for a great crew chief, man. There again, like I said, former NASCAR championship crew chief joining XM, man. Going to be some big moves there. So, want to give a big, thanks to you guys out there for tuning in this evening. Like I always say, if you haven't yet, please go out, like, share, follow all our social media. You can catch us out there on the Gram. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us live right here every 6 o'clock, Coach's Corner, if you want to come out here. But definitely make sure you go check out our YouTube page, Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Make sure you like, share our stuff, and subscribe to that channel. Lawrence does a great job putting it on. A little bit more scripted than it is here. He adds some tidbits in, but man, what a great show. Glad to be a part of it. But if you haven't, like I said, like, share, follow, subscribe to all our social media, man. So getting ready to start up the Who's Hot and Who's Not, and that is sponsored by Arbor Man Tree Service. My buddy Parker Eccles out there. You'll see that name and number scrolling on the bottom of the screen. One of my sponsors outside of Coaches that does sponsor this and all the charity events and things that we do up here. So like I said, Arbor Man Tree Service, any kind of tree service you need, doesn't matter if it's trimming limbs, stump grinding, tree removal. Give Parker a call. He's going to come out, give you a great price, great estimate. Locally owned and operated, man. As I say all the time, no job too big, too small, no tree too tall. Give Parker a call, man. Love you, brother. Can't wait till that Atlanta race is coming up, man. We ain't got too long to go. So moving right into the Who's Not. I mean, with the Chili Bowl Nationals ending and the way things are going, man, we cannot help but throw dirt racing into what's hot, right? So not only in the fact that you're seeing a lot of named NASCAR drivers in dirt, man, I think it just does things and pays dividends for a driver to touch dirt. So as we all know, my main man Chase Elliott wasn't a dirt track driver, man. Grew up driving on asphalt. That's where he learned his skill set that he has. Over the past few seasons has ventured into dirt racing. And there again, I think this not only pays dividends for the driver himself, but also the team. I mean, look what Kyle Larson did last year. Not only, let's rewind the clock a little further than that. Let's see what he did when he got booted out of NASCAR for that incident. Goes on, enters like, I don't know how many dirt races, 100, and he won over 50 of them. Pretty much, over 50% win percentage in the dirt with Kyle Larson. Comes back into NASCAR last season, wins his first championship, and honestly was just the most dominating driver in car all season long. Nobody really touched him. Like, we had a couple guys beat him in a few races that he probably should have won. Some things happened. There again, Pocono comes to mind. Atlanta Spring Race comes to mind. Circuit City of America, with the way the cautions fell on that for rain, kind of comes to mind. There's a lot of races he could have won, but at the end of the day, what a great season he had. And I think a lot of that is part of the fact that he is a dirt racer. So being a dirt racer, it is all throttle control and the feel for the race car, man. You have to be able to wheel it and feel what it's doing and move that car around. So for guys like Chase Elliott and a lot of these guys in the sport that didn't grow up racing dirt, to go out and heighten your skills by racing dirt, like I said, pays dividends. You're going to be able to relay info to your team about what the car is doing in a different way. Maybe be able to take that car and drive it a little bit different than what you did the season before, just because of what you've learned on dirt and how to handle it and how to make it work for you in different areas. So I think it just pays dividends. I'm glad to see a lot of these guys going out, paying tribute to the roots of a sport where it was all dirt at one time. But I absolutely love it. I think that dirt racing is going to grow a little bit bigger than what it already is, and hopefully it also helps NASCAR grow as well, man. So we're just going to have to wait and see what it does, but like I said, dirt racing is definitely number one on the Who's Hot list for this week, man. So NASCAR future on the hot list. To me, the sport is looking great. for right now, over the past few seasons, man, viewing has went up. It seems like interest in the sport as well has gone up. We've seen guys like Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin open teams. We got Pitbull and Justin Marks over there at Trackhouse Racing. Now we're talking about Floyd Mayweather coming in. I mean, it's a great spot for people to get their brand out. I don't think there's a better way to put your brand out there other than NASCAR. It's pretty much a 3 to 4 hour commercial with your sponsor driving around. There again, we talked a little bit about sponsorship costs. A little expensive there, but at the end of the day, these are guys who got an endless checkbook for the most part, Fortune 500 companies. I mean, come on, man. But like I said, I think it's just great. You got a lot of young, marketable talent out there, not only for your sponsors, but also to develop into really good race car drivers. And I think the talent pool in the sport right now is deeper than it ever has been. I mean, there's easy 16 to 18, now maybe even 20 guys that can go out there and win a race. We saw it last year, 14 different winners there through the first however many races. I mean, it took a while for guys to repeat wins outside of Kyle Larson. So it's just something to be said there. I think, like I said, the sport is moving in a great direction. I think, as I've always said, youth, not in the sport, but youth outside of the sport, getting the kids to the racetrack, getting parents involved in bringing their kids to the racetrack, that's what's going to keep this sport alive for the next 20, 30, 40 years. There again, I just think it's very important to bring the youth into the sport to grow it. And if kids love it, hey, man, I just think it's awesome. So big shout out to NASCAR for doing what they're doing and making their moves, man. So going to get right on into the who's not right after I take a sip of this. And really on the who's not list, man, we're coming in with some stuff. Like I said, season hadn't started. Not too much to really kick off and talk about as far as who's on my bad list as of right now. Alabama, always. We're going to rub that in all season long. They're going to be on the who's not list all season. But that's enough said about them. But, hey, man, this is what I'm getting to. Fans and people clowning on NASCAR for putting safer barriers in the LA Coliseum. So if you haven't been keeping up, there's a couple articles out there about this. A lot of people just got a lot of bad things to say about it. Why is NASCAR spending the money to put this safer barrier in on a quarter-mile track where top speeds are going to be 70 miles an hour, if that? At the end of the day, man, it's NASCAR's call. It's NASCAR's sandbox. I think safer barriers are a great thing. I think that it helped probably save a lot of different lives or cause a lot of concussions throughout the sport over the years. So there again, like I said, I'm not going to clown anybody for trying to make it a safe race environment. Hey, if they hit it and it didn't hurt them anyways, hey, that's fine. I grew up in the later era before safer barriers, concrete walls. I remember Dover. I remember watching a lot of guys hit some concrete and the violent that is. And not only that, the injury it could do to the driver, man. So for me, I'm not going to clown on it. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, man. That's just the way the cookie crumbles nowadays. We got to protect our drivers, got to be safe. So never going to down NASCAR for doing anything safety-wise, man. So another one, or a lot of fans out here, and this is one of my pet peeves right here. I get it, but I don't. A lot of fans out there saying that NASCAR died when Dale Sr. died. This is just something that, when I've heard this over the years of me, it just absolutely irks my chain a little bit. And I get it, man. Like, if you were a diehard Senior fan and that was your guy and he passed, I totally get it. But here's the thing. The sport is going to move on, right? So just like baseball, just like football, just like hockey, just like basketball, any team sport over the last 20, 25 years has changed significantly, man. We don't have the same rules. We don't play by the same rules. The game's not played the same way. So to me, maybe the sport would have headed in a different direction had he never passed away. But I will say this. To me, it's almost like sacrilegious for Senior fans to say that, because I feel like Senior's death was really probably what involved the movement of NASCAR being safer than what it was. I mean, the safer barriers and the Hans device and just the car safety, the halo bar that Ryan Newman put in, all these things I think are really possible because NASCAR really started taking a look into how safe these cars actually are. And without Senior's passing, we probably would have never got that. So the man impacted the sport over the last 20, 25 years, 20 years, whether he was alive or whether he was passed on, man. So to me, if I was a Senior fan, I'd take great pride in where the sport is led to now. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you are a racing fan, you are going to continue to watch this sport. You are going to find a guy that you kind of pick up on and go, hey, that's my guy. I'll root him on. like I said, it's not going to be the same old good old boy style that it was with Senior in the early and later 80s and later 70s, 80s, and early mid 90s. There, it's not going to be that style of racing anymore. It's just not. It's a money sport. It's marketable a lot. NASCAR has done a lot to make it safe for these guys. So at the end of the day, there again, I'm never going to say anything bad about NASCAR and safety. And I can agree that when we lost Dale Senior. That was a big, sad moment, probably one of the saddest moments in NASCAR, if not going to be the saddest of all time. It's just really sad, man. And like I said, at the end of the day, the sport's going to continue to move on. Either you're going to move on with it or you're not. But I will say this, if you're going to say the sport died when Senior died, you just need to shut the hell up, man. So there we go again. Moving right along into the next segment of the show, which is something I added in, that hard right turn. And it's going to be a pretty good one, man. And you're going to think I kind of mentioned this earlier in the show. And what this resorts to is the hard right turn, man. Supply chain shortage yet there again in NASCAR. And no, I'm not talking about the parts and the chassis that I talked about earlier. What I'm talking about is charters for teams. So there again, if you're new, you hadn't been watching the sport, 2016 NASCAR implemented 36 charter teams. What they did is they went back over statistical data over, say, the 4 or 5 years prior to that. They looked at teams that tried to qualify for every single race. They awarded 36 teams that they felt based off of that statistical data and entry data on who deserved those 36 charters. So we all know it's cut from a 43-car team down to a 40-car team in the same time. 36 guys are guaranteed. So what that charter does for is it guarantees you a starting spot in all 38 NASCAR races throughout the year. Now, with that being said, that pays dividend to those sponsors you have. That opens up a lot of opportunities for a charter team to have sponsors. Now, we have seen over the last few years guys getting out of NASCAR and selling these charters. This is where we're getting down to the nitty-gritty on the hard right turn, man. So when this started in, when this started right around, just say 2020, 2019, 18, somewhere in there, average price a charter was sold around was about $2.5 million up to around $5 million, right? So that's, not too bad. You're looking at it, hey, you're guaranteed a spot, you're guaranteed a cut of that purse, whether you finish 40 or first, you're getting paid something, right? Now, this is the thing. This is where it's going to get really crazy. So, now, this has been offered, okay? Rumors about this has been offered that people are in dire need of NASCAR charters. All 36 teams are booked up. 4 guys got to go out and qualify for it. Got to make it happen, man. The average cost for a new team to buy that charter right now, or what they have been offered and turned down on, is upwards towards $15 million. So if you watched last week, you noticed I talked about sponsors anywhere from $5 to $35 million to sponsor a car for a full season. Majority sponsor, hood, sides of the car, the whole car, it's probably going to be around 35. So you calculate in, let's say you go with a cool $25 million, the $15 million to buy the charter, you're talking $40 million before rubber ever meets the road. This is why I said earlier when we talked about Mayweather, I know he's a billionaire, I know he's a billion-dollar athlete, $40 million. I know he's probably got that in just maybe 5 cars that he owns. Hell, who knows with him, man. It's Floyd Mayweather. But at the end of the day, I hope it's just not a thing where I'm putting money in to get my brand out there. Let's put some money in and be competitive, man. So there again, I'd be calling MJ on the phone. I'd be calling any friends you got inside that sport and finding out what it takes to make it go around. But like I said, a charter, which you got to find somebody that's going to sell you one if you want to race all 38 races. That's a hard part about it. 15 million. So for me, I think that's a little bit crazy. I think that NASCAR is becoming where it's overpriced. There's probably got to be some changes to that charter system. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think they're probably going to ride it out, but I do think it's going to peak and then fall back down. Could push some people out of the sport. It's just something I think they got to review and figure out, what they're going to do. There again, for me, I think it's a great idea to have 36 guaranteed guys, but really we could probably cut that down to just say 25 and leave, another, 16, 15, 14, 15 spots, 10 spots, whatever it is, let's see, it'd be, however many spots left, man, 15 spots left. I just think that's a good idea. Then 15 guys get to go out and qualify if there's 25 guys running. I mean, 36 is a little much, but to me, that's just my opinion, man. But that's it for the hard right turn. Would love to hear your guys' comments about it. Like I said, to me, I just think it's one of those things that's getting a little pricey, but when you own the charter, I guess you can set your own price, man. So that's something we just got to look into in the future. So, hey, man, here we go. That's going to wrap it up for the rubbing. We're moving right on into the grubbing, man, and I got a treat in honor of, like I said, the Super Bowl, the mecca of dirt racing, the Chili Bowl. We are busting out a bowl of Coach's Corner's chili, man. Now, this is loaded to the T. I'm telling you, this is an awesome, awesome, awesome deal here. Got all kinds of stuff coming up. I'm looking at it right now. I even got a chili dog on the plate, man. All right, got John dropping it off. John, thank you, sir. Looks absolutely, oh, yeah, it will. I'm sure my wife probably will not like me later, man. But, yeah. But, hey, man, like I said, if you've never checked it out, I got chili, cheese, jalapenos, onions, the whole shebang, man. Sour cream, anything and everything you want right there. A couple chili dogs and a bowl of chili. Make sure you guys come out and check out some of the great food that comes out of this kitchen here at Coach's. I'm telling you right now, it is absolutely amazing. I'm getting ready to get into that as soon as I get off of here, man. So another big shout out there to 104.3 ESPN Coastal there with PJ Zuko himself, man. Looking so forward to doing another season of Green White Checkered there every Sunday morning, 9 to 9:30. You can check PJ Zuko and myself out, running down everything NASCAR, getting you ready for that Sunday race, man. A little bit different show than this. Some stuff happens after Wednesday I don't really quite get to talk about, but I do every Sunday morning there with PJ, again, on 104.3 ESPN Coastal. You can check it out on ESPN Coastal's Facebook page as well. But Green White Checkered coming to you, coming up every Sunday. Got to get a hard date on that. Got to contact PJ here in the next couple weeks, but be on the lookout for it. Great show, man. Big shout out there again to Coach's Corner Sports Network, man. We got the Masters coming up here in April. The Herb brothers putting on a great show, as they always do, man. These guys love to clown it up, and they know their golf, man. So at the end of the day, if you've never seen it, I highly recommend going on YouTube. Check out last year's show that they did. Check out the year before. Definitely make sure you check this year's out. It's going to be probably bigger and better than ever. These guys never cease to amaze me, and you will absolutely get some belly laughs out of it. Two of the funniest guys I know, and they're brothers, man. So brotherly love goes a long way on that show, man. So definitely going to be great. But, hey, man, that's going to wrap it up for me here on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. There again, I hope everybody's staying warm, staying safe out there. You know, like I said, we got Daytona coming up. Before that, we got the Busch Light Clash coming up. We are very, very close to getting back to NASCAR racing, man, which I am so excited for. And like I said, if you haven't yet, like, share, follow, subscribe, man. All that does is help us raise more money for the charities and the events that we do here at Coach's, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe. God bless. Hey, and as always, wash your hands, y'all. All right.